Welcome to Franchise Focus. I'm Laura Blackmore, your host, and a franchise consultant with over a decade experience in franchising. Franchising isn't one size fits all, and this podcast helps focus on what truly matters. Each week, we pull back the curtain with top industry experts, whether you're exploring your first franchise or expanding your portfolio. Let's dive in. Hello, today we welcome Jessa Petricevic from Garage Force. Jessa is the Director of Franchise Development for Garage Force. And Garage Force is a franchise that's a leader in floor coating systems or installation across the country. Their floor coatings are not just for garages, but also other residential and commercial applications such as pool decks, restaurants, medical facilities, etc. They also do garage cabinets and wall coatings. They started franchising in 2014. They've been franchising for 11 years now, and they have over 170 locations, which is a phenomenal feat for a franchise. Very few, less than 1% do that. Welcome, Jessa. Fun fact that I know about Jessa, just recently I found out she coaches high school basketball. So obviously you were an athlete in your youth.
Yep.
So welcome and tell us a little bit more about yourself and your background in Garage Force.
Yeah, will do. Well, first of all, thanks for having me, Laura. I'm excited to be here. I am a basketball coach. It was a really good season. We actually ended up losing by 4 points to the team that won state, which was a bummer. Bad way to end.
Wow.
Yeah, so
that's huge.
I'm a little bit about myself. I've been the director of franchise development at Garage Force for about 2 years now, and it's been an amazing experience. People always ask me, how did you get into franchising? And I kind of have a unique story. So I actually kind of grew up around it. So my dad is actually the CEO of Garage Force. So he started the franchise system when I was in high school. And I was always super curious about it. I actually remember waiting outside of his door and putting my ear up to the door and listening in on some of his CEO calls. So it was always something that intrigued me. I went to college at the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse and, played basketball in college. I studied business marketing. And then from college, I actually was working with a startup company for a little while in the fitness space. So I got some good experience there working on their marketing systems and sales and stuff for them. And then this opportunity presented itself and I was super excited. So I jumped right in. I think my dad knows that I can talk. I was always the type of kid where, they just stopped asking me how school was because I would just tell them without them asking and talk their ear off and tell them every little detail. So yeah, that's a little bit about my background.
That's fantastic. I mean, and that's really neat. I love the family connection that helps. You certainly, that shows a testament to how strong that system is too, that you're in and you've seen the success of other franchisees in the past and your dad. And so that's a lot. Tell us a little bit more about the offerings. I did a high level, but what sets you guys apart? There is competition in this space. There's more coming in, I think, because they see the success. But tell us how Garage Force stands out above it and the unique product offering and connection you have there.
Yep, definitely. So yeah, like you said, this is a growing industry. So we are seeing more and more competitors. The nice thing is that we've always been the innovators in this space. So we are the leaders in the concrete coating world. And we have a truly differentiating proprietary product. So I'll tell you a little bit about that. And even getting into the background a little bit, I think that'll kind of lead up to this. Something that makes Garage Force unique, as I mentioned, we're the original innovators of a polyurea or polyaspartic coating, which a lot of people aren't super familiar with that term unless they're in the coating space, and it's commonly used. But the best way I know how to describe it that the ordinary person might be able to relate to is it's actually the black rubberized coating that's sprayed in the back of a truck bed. So that's actually our founder. His family was really big in the oil industry down in Texas, and it was the same product used on the inside of the oil pipes. So that's what kind of sparked his curiosity. He's like, what is this indestructible, chemical resistant product? So he formalized it. He made it, clear, rolled on as opposed to sprayed on, bond to concrete. Garage Force was really the game changers in the coating space because before us, it was just epoxy. Epoxy typically takes 3 days to do a standard 2-car garage, 3 days on top of that to fully cure. We can do everything about 1,000 square feet and less in 1 day with our product. And then customers can walk on the floor 12 hours later and drive on it 24 hours later. And then we actually have the patent to the 1-day installation process. Wow. So that's one big difference. And then also our product is a lot stronger. It's 20 times stronger than epoxy. One of the reasons, and actually I think I have, so epoxies are very stiff and brittle. I know you can't see me hitting it against the side of my desk, but
Yeah.
This is our product, and it's actually got some like flexibility and bend to it.
Yeah.
So then it's made to move and shift with the natural movements in concrete. So it's not going to crack. Epoxies, commonly crack. They also just don't have the adhesiveness that our product does. And then, lastly, ours is UV stable too. So we can do, outdoor applications. Laura did a great job introducing our brand and mentioned that we do more than just garages. So we can do like, porches, patios, pool decks, because the product's not going to yellow from being in the sun.
Wow.
That's some of the differences between our product and an epoxy. And actually, really exciting news, we actually just released the latest version of this polyurea coating last March. So it's been about a year now that our
Yeah.
franchisees have been using it. It's called a cyclospartic. It's still a version of that polyurea. It's just changed on the molecular level. There's actually a lot more bonding points to the concrete now, which those bonding points are called cyclic rings, hence the name cyclospartic. But this is proprietary to Garage Force. It has 3 times the adhesion than what we were previously using in anything else on the market. When they tested it, you can see here,
Wow.
they take like this metal dolly and we use our base coat, we coat the surface of a commercial concrete actually, put this dolly on it, let it cure overnight and come back the next day, use a ratchet to basically test at what pressure it breaks off. And as you can see, ours tore up the concrete underneath before it tore off
Wow.
coating. So it is a very strong product, but the other best part about this is we were able to cut the product cost down for our franchisees.
That's
Before, our franchisees that have been with us for 10, 11 years always bragged about how during their 11 years, the product cost never changed, which names something else that hasn't gone up in price. So that's to brag about. And then for the first time last year, it changed and we were able to decrease their product cost by about 30%. So that's really
and
helped
that's
them.
going to go right to the bottom line. I mean, that's amazing.
Yep. So
Wow. When I have, in fact, I was just talking to someone yesterday. When I have candidates that really, really care about, they want the best product in the market. And then, in some industries, painting, for instance, you want the best processes of follow up with the customer service, but the
yes,
best product and to feel really good about it, I always check and see if Garage Force is available because I just know that they can get
yes,
100% behind that
yep.
product. And it resonates with a lot of people. They're like,
Yeah,
wow,
it's
this is
so much
amazing.
easier to sell something that you believe in and sell itself. On one of the validation calls we just had on Monday, it was an owner that was a CPA, and he was talking about he's like, I had no experience in sales. That was my biggest concern, like jumping into this
Yeah.
because he's just a very like kind of matter of the fact, kind of soft spoken guy. And he's like, my close rates are at about 50%. And he's like, I just educate and people trust me and it sells itself. So definitely.
That's amazing. So when you're looking for people that are, going to be potential owners, what do you find? So look, you've got a CPA, you've probably got salespeople. What is there a common denominator or what really makes someone successful in this space?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I would say it is kind of across the board. I just said, I gave a CPA, for example, that's doing really well. But if someone is like, they can talk to people, they have good energy, they can relate to people and, establish some rapport. And maybe that is through prior sales experience. Maybe it's just, your personality. That always, helps. We always look for and focus on like growth minded entrepreneurs because, as we talked about, this is a proven system. Basically, your job as the owner is to take this and run with it and focus on the growth and the scaling. So I would say like our top, 10% of franchisees are the ones that, have multiple territories, multiple crews, and, they don't maybe focus as much time working in the business instead of, and not to say that right away you can't start out hands on. That does work really well, too, just to really understand it and know the ins and outs of the business. But you should have some sort of a plan to eventually step away from actually doing the installs and kind of
Right.
be more of an executive, model.
And so when the sales process, like so somebody, well, I was going to talk through maybe the sales process for the owner or whoever's doing that. And then if somebody comes in and interested, but also maybe the mix? Are you targeting mostly residential at first and then growing into commercial, or how does that work?
Yeah, so well, to cover that first, usually we start owners, we always want to start them out on a path to success. And I think the easiest or quickest way to success is starting with the residential squares and rectangles. Number one, it's the easiest job to do. Typically, that's just a two-person crew. Once our owners do get more into commercial, it's probably more advantageous to have three people on their crew. So, two-person crews, one-day installs. Again, usually they're smaller jobs. Not as big of a deal if you do mess up, but then, and like the biggest thing too is you get paid same day. With residential, commercial, there's a ton of opportunity. It's super lucrative. And there is certainly a market for it. It tends to be more of our established owners that get into that because, like I said, it's a little bit more of a difficult job, and also it ties up your money a little bit because a lot of times you don't get paid till 60 or 90 days later. But that being said, right now I would say our residential commercial split is probably about 80% residential, 20% commercial. Again, depending on some of our owners that are 8, 9, 10 years in now, maybe doing 50% commercial. So it kind of just depends on their goals. I know we have some too that say, I get commercial opportunities and that's just not my thing. I love dealing with homeowners and, I focus on that and I turn down commercial jobs. So
in terms of the marketing that generates those residential clients, what is effective? What's kind of your suggested approach for owners?
Yeah, so we have a basically turnkey marketing plan or solution. So first of all, when you become a franchisee with us, we'll set up your website for you. We manage that entirely. We'll also set up all of your social media accounts. Initially they'll be loaded with past jobs that Garage Force has done, and then you can start to put your own work in there. But Garage Force actually has third-party digital marketing agencies that we partner with. So they've been working with Garage Force for a number of years. They know our brand really well. So basically the process is, as a new franchisee, you can use one of the marketing partners we know well and recommend. They already have all of our, materials and algorithms and they know about our business, right? So basically you can sign up with one of those agencies, sign up for our program, and then set your budget with them. And they'll take care of all of your digital marketing initiatives from, your social media posts to Facebook ads. A lot of our target consumers are on Facebook. Typically, it's going to be the person that's probably 45 and up that's looking to do this, has some, extra money to spend on something like this. And a lot of times those are the people on Facebook. Hopefully I don't offend anyone there, but
Okay.
So that one works really good. And then Google works really well for us too. So ads, Google My Business, click rates, SEO, stuff like that. And Garage Force does actually spend a lot of money on SEO for all of our locations too, to show up higher in search results. One other thing too, so that's the digital marketing, probably where we get most of our leads from. The other side of it is live events. So home shows, car shows, RV shows. Actually, a different guy on a validation call like a month ago said that he did a fishing show. And at first I was like, how did they let you into a fishing show? Like, what does that have to do with Garage Force? He's like, I just showed him some, pictures of floors with a boat on them and they let me in. And he said he got 22 jobs from that one show.
Oh my goodness.
That's
how clever.
Yeah, exactly. So we give you a big setup. You get a backdrop, banner, booth light, sample tile boards, stuff like that. And we have actually a graphic designer on staff with us too. So we have very bold, eye-catching graphics. So we can even make some of those materials if you want it specific to your location for you at cost. But it's funny, you also get a turnkey equipment package and a trailer that's wrapped and everything, which, maybe I can talk about a little bit more. But a lot of our customers will call our owners and say, I see your guys' trucks and trailers everywhere. And it's like, no, it's just the one. You just notice it every time you pass it. First year or two kind of becomes word of mouth and referrals. So that side really picks up too, which obviously is the best form of advertising.
In terms of an owner's day in the life, I imagine maybe a little different their first year versus ongoing. What can you walk us through what that looks like for them?
Yeah, so there's really two different types of owners starting out. We do have both a owner-operator model and a semi-absentee model. So those are going to be looking a little bit different. The owner-operator is the person that is jumping in, all in, 40, 50 hours a week, that works in the business on it. They're actually out doing the installs as well as the sales. So that is, again, like a full 40 a week. There's going to be days when they're out doing an install, maybe during their lunch break, they're going and hitting some of of the estimates, and then, leaving the job and working on, invoices and the back office things. And then there's a semi-absentee owner, which that is kind of the owner that's more of an executive owner, where it's like he or she, I should say, has a crew of installers that go out and do the floors. Of course, they may jump in here and there if it's a bigger job or they need someone calls in, but typically they really focus on the sales. So handling the estimates, going out and visiting the customer's space, taking a measure of their floor, showing them our different coating options. And that's their time to sell too. Tell them why our product's best, tell them about our lifetime warranty. And actually, with the new product, I don't think I told you yet, Laura, we just released or updated our warranty. It's actually a lifetime warranty, one-time transferable now, which is the best you'll hear in this industry.
Wow.
Yeah, so hopefully that kind of answers the question of what like a day in the life might look. And obviously it's different for everyone. We even have a couple owners that initially have kept a full-time job. Obviously it's a little bit harder, but they'll need to spend a lot of times on like the evenings and weekends and stuff, building up this business, but it has been done.
Do you have owners that grow enough that they hire salespeople as well, or is there like a?
Yep, definitely. And we always say too, if you realize that sales is not your strong suit or your close rates aren't where they should be, definitely hire a sales manager. And yeah, we have, some owners that have salespeople on just commission. We even have a couple owners that have grown to the point of multiple territories in different places, and they have general managers at each location.
In terms of competition, we mentioned, and yours just so much better. Are franchisees bothered at all with the competition in the market, or?
No, so well, I shouldn't say no for everyone, but most of the time what I hear is that there are some other competitors, and it might be a ma and pop, it might be a distributor model or another franchise. But with our superior product, and we are competitively priced as well, we end up winning a lot of the jobs. I was just talking with an owner that's 4 years in now in Oklahoma City, and he has a lot of competition in his market. He actually has already drove 2 competitors out of business that have been around for 10 years. So.
Wow. Because of the product. I mean, again, and the fact that you have as many locations open, I mean, that's a huge testament.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I should have chimed in right away. I know you had said like over 175 units.
Yeah.
We're actually, so that's going to be updated in our next FDD that's coming out, but we're at about 240 right now.
I figured I was off on that. Wow.
Yep. So we probably have about 120 owners operating those territories. So we do have a lot of owners that have multiple. Our biggest franchisee is in Minneapolis, and he's got like 10 territories, probably about 8 to 10 crews also. Last year he did 10 million in sales.
That's fantastic. I tell you, that market does well with every franchise I know. That is a good market.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's kind of impressive for us because it's actually in a cold climate. So
exactly.
A little bit of seasonality. Like the nice thing is our product can be installed in -20-degree weather or 120-degree weather. We rarely, I should say rarely, I'm in Wisconsin and we have seen it under -20, every now and then, but usually we can still go and service a job. It does affect cure times a little bit. So if it's like colder and drier, it's going to take a little bit longer. It's going to be a longer lunch break essentially for your crew before you can go on and do the top coat. It might be about 2 hours, where if it's a really hot and humid day, it might take about 5 minutes before they can finish it up and do the top coat. But yeah, there is still a little bit of seasonality in like the December, January months. Part of that's because of the holidays and stuff. But obviously that owner in Minneapolis, even in the cold climates, he's been able to do more like basements and interior jobs or commercial jobs in the summer.
Oh yeah, basements.
Sorry, in the winter. Yeah.
Okay. Hiring crews, what is this something you can train, or is that difficult to find the crews? How do you guys do that?
It's super easy to train. Garage Force has a week-long training. The first 3 days are all like the hands-on, learning to do the different types of floors and the prep work and everything, learn the machinery. And then the last 2 days are like the in-office, sales, marketing, software systems, stuff like that. But the nice thing is our training is completely free. And if people hire new employees in the future, maybe they expand to 2 crews and hire another lead, they can send them up at any time. It's free. Just have to pay to get them train them. Obviously, if they are, a little bit more handy, for example, we had a training just a couple weeks ago and someone hired a lead installer that used to be a professional painter. His floors were awesome. Like I took some
Oh,
pictures of it. I'm like, it looks like he's done like 30 of these already because he just picked up on it super quick. So there are some of those like more technical, handy people can, pick up on it a little bit quicker and they may maybe a little bit less of a learning curve than someone that has never done anything with their hands before. So, but I mean, this is a super attractive role for someone that's maybe in the construction industry because they're
right.
used to working, long, hot hours in the sun. Well, you could probably pay them just as well. And they're in a garage covered space. And it's not super physically demanding. Like, of course, you're going to be on your feet most of the days and, pushing some of our heavy equipment and stuff like that. But, for the most part, I mean, we have some owners in their 60s that are still out there on the floors doing this type of work.
Let's talk about the investment, the cost to get in. What's usually the type of profile someone needs, capital and whatnot, and what that all includes. You mentioned the equipment package, but you can walk us through that.
Yeah, so our total initial investment, the range right now for a single territory is between like 140 on the low end to like 180 probably on the high end. There's a couple things that may contribute to that gap. The biggest being a vehicle. So if the owner already owns a truck, we're totally okay if they want to use their personal truck to start out with to pull the trailer. Otherwise, obviously if you need to buy one, it might be more closer to that 180 range.
Okay.
And the three main things that make up the initial investment are the territory. I call it the three T's. So the territory, the truck, and the trailer.
Okay.
And of course, the trailer, like I mentioned, it's fully loaded. So it has everything in it that you need to run and operate the franchise. And you get that right from training. So you can literally start that next Monday. But it has all of the, equipment, an iPad printer for estimates, home show kit, all the way down to like extension cords and shirts and hats for the crew. So and that's what makes up the initial investment. As far as, the profile, we usually say a net worth of probably around 250, and then I would say liquid capital of around probably 40,000.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that is a little bit, we don't have like you have to meet those requirements. If you have a means to funding, maybe it's a father or something that can help you out, as long as you can get that funding and we approve you. Of course, it is a selective process now at this point, us being in business for over a decade and having that many locations. Obviously we want to find someone that is gonna do well and fit in well with our culture and everything like that. But yeah, if we think you're going to be a good fit and you have the means to get that money for the initial investment, we're happy to welcome you on the team.
I think it's amazing that you continue to do training for free, because again, I don't hear that with a lot of franchisees. So that's got to be very reassuring for people as they're growing, and that they can do that. From once someone says, okay, I want to join, and they start, what's typically the process, the onboarding process? You've got the training. Are they doing pre-stuff before that, or what's that time frame like?
Yeah, so usually the process, once they decide this is something that they want to do, and usually that's like after a discovery day. Obviously there's the handshake, and then there's the legal side, so we get the contracts drawn up and stuff. Once they do the sign and pay, we would actually schedule them. We get them scheduled for one of our training sessions, which we have those once a month typically, and then we'll get them on a couple of calls with Tim, who's our national franchise director, to do some onboarding. So he'll get, their business name, garage force of, and then insert location. He'll get that, set up your website, and he'll get you in touch with the marketing partners and stuff like that. So that way, once you do get to training, you can really hit the ground running. We've already done all that like onboarding prior.
Any other tools and systems that you provide, technologies that they use on a daily basis, CRMs, things of that nature? What?
Yep. So Garage Force actually has a proprietary software. We created this specifically for Garage Force. It does all of their product ordering, estimating, invoicing, KPI management, scheduling. It actually has a visualizer tool, which is my favorite part of it. You can take a picture of a customer's floor and show the customer what it looks like with different coding options down in their space.
Perfect.
So that basically does all the business side of things for them. And I don't think I mentioned that's completely free to all of our franchisees. So we don't have any like monthly or annual technology fee. That's all provided with the franchise. And then you also get a CRM tool as well, no fee for that. And they're set up to communicate back and forth with each other. So that track all their leads coming in and sends them through, a pipeline with automated messages and appointment reminders and stuff like that.
Fantastic. Any major markets that are open? You've got 240 locations open.
Yeah.
Are there major areas, or how many do
Gosh,
you
I
hope?
should have had a list in front of me.
No.
There are still a lot open right now. I mean, some of
Okay.
like I would say the hot markets, Detroit, Michigan is wide open, and I think there's really good potential there. It's for some reason in the Midwest, there's just still a lot of people interested in garage remodels and stuff. A lot of things too, as far as like the maintenance and stuff. I mean, I'm in Wisconsin and I just pressure washed my garage over the weekend and it was so easy and it looks brand new now. But let's see, there's a lot of markets open in Florida too, which also is a really good market because you can do some more like outdoor work, like patio decks and stuff like that, and you don't have to deal with like the seasonality necessarily in the winters. But some of them in Florida, Miami right now is open, West Palm Beach, Tallahassee, Naples. So there's a lot of good markets in Florida. Cleveland, Ohio is open. Arkansas is wide open right now, so Little Rock. Let's see.
You've got room. You got smattering all over.
Yeah. Oh, Philadelphia might be one of the biggest. Right, it's wide open.
Wow. So. Okay.
Yes, but
Good to
all
know.
over, I would say we're not like focused only on like a couple states right now where it works in any market. So
anything that is the hardest for someone to learn or embrace as they're coming on, if you find any consistent challenges?
Right. I would say like, maybe some of that is just people that have never owned a business before. Obviously we make it as easy as possible with, a proven system and they get the playbook essentially. You can tell I'm a sports person or coach. So they get the playbook, they get to follow that. But there are some things like, that decisions you have to make as a business owner and stuff and allocate money to, okay, what am I going to take out of this? What am I going to invest back into the business? Just some things like that and figuring out how you're going to pay your employees and how you get employee retention starting out. If maybe, we have had a lot of owners that hit the ground running, but, there's also some owners that maybe the first 3 to 6 months, you're only doing, 1 to 2 floors a week. So there's a little bit of a ramp up. So I would say figuring out some of those decisions, maybe, something that might be kind of difficult starting out. And like, again, there is a learning curve with actually doing a floor where your 30th floor is going to look a whole lot better than your first floor. But we do the best to flatten that the most we can. So with our excellent training, after training, we usually recommend like doing their own floors and friends and family members' floors like at cost just to get a little bit more practice. And we actually have someone at our headquarters whose main job is to assist with opening locations. So they'll be available to FaceTime like the owner or their crew multiple times their first few jobs to go like step by step with them.
Fantastic. Anything else you think is important for potential owners to think about?
Let's see. No, I mean, I think this was a really good overview. I guess like the nice thing that I love about Garage Force is we are constantly innovating. I already told you about like the new product.
Yeah.
It's funny, we have actually a training going on this week too. We've had a lot of those recently, a lot of growth happening, which is good. But Patrick, who was the innovator of our very first product, he actually has a lab upstairs and he came down in a lab coat. It was kind of embarrassing, but like all of the new franchisees are like, oh, that's Patrick. Like that's the scientist guy. And it's like, yep,
wow.
He's always playing with stuff upstairs to come out with the best and newest technology. We also this year patented a system called VeriFloor. I have a sample of it right here. So basically it's this unique QR code and serial number. It looks like it looks like a medallion or like a coin that would go in the garage floor. Well, again, each one has a unique serial number, and this goes in the floor. And we're the only company that can serial number a floor, which is what the patent is. And customers can scan this QR code and they can see the exact product that was used on their floor, and it ties in their warranty. So it really helps with customer assurance. Your mind's like blown right now, Laura.
Holy cow.
Yeah, but it really helps with customer assurance, knowing that, okay, I did get this premium product that I'm being sold, and also my warranties not going anywhere. I mean, the clear top coat is over this, so it's always in their floor. So they love knowing that if in 20 years, something happens, boom, I'll scan this, register it. And also Garage Force actually backs our warranties. So it's not coming out of our franchisees' pockets. If there ever would be a warranty claim, that's how much we believe
Okay.
our product and how very few we've had over our last decade. So
Yeah.
Garage Force will cover all of the costs for those. And then lastly, it's great branding too. Again, I mean, the name Garage Force is on it. So we always say as much as, a customer loves our product and is happy with the outcome, who knows if in 3 years when a friend comes over and says, hey, who did this? I want to get my floor done. Hopefully they remember our name. If not, it's right there in their floor. So
That's amazing. Everything about your company, I think, is so impressive. I really appreciate your time. I think you've helped so much. And thanks again.
yeah,
Look
well,
forward
thank
to-
you so much for having me, Laura. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. You take care. Bye-bye, Jessa.
Thanks. Bye.
That's a wrap for this episode of Franchise Focus. I hope you found today's conversation insightful and inspiring. If you're thinking about franchise ownership or want to learn more about the brands we discussed, connect with me on LinkedIn or visit my website. And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share it with someone who might find it valuable. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time on Franchise Focus.